In headlines of this hour on VTV News. Francophonie space potential land for economic and investment cooperation, according to top leader. And scope remains for public capital disbursement acceleration. In our world news, Israeli airstrikes rock southern suburbs of Beirut.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Good morning, it is 8 a.m. local time in Hanoi and you're watching VTV News. I'm Huyen Chen with the top stories. During the state visit to Ireland, Party General Secretary and State President Tô Lâm engaged in several significant engagements on the evening of October 3rd, Vietnam time. More to follow.
During his visit to the Irish National Institute for Bioprocessing Research and Training, General Secretary and State President Tô Lâm expressed admiration for the Institute's modern facilities and its achievements in the biopharmaceutical industry. He emphasized Vietnam's goal of becoming a leader in biotechnology and expressed hope for enhanced cooperation in research and joint training programs. This collaboration aims to establish Vietnam as a central for smart biotechnology production and services.
Receiving Patrick McKillen, Honorary Consul of Vietnam in Ireland, Chair of Pacific Land, Party General Secretary and State President, Tô Lâm commended his contributions as the first Honorary Consul of Vietnam in Ireland. He requested Mr. McKillen's assistance in establishing and operating the Vietnamese Embassy in Ireland. The General Secretary hoped the Hanoi Bio-High-Tech Park would attract international high-quality science and technology investments, aligning with global high-tech development trends. Honorary Consul McKillen confirmed that Pacific Land has received approval to establish the Hanoi Bio-High-Tech Park and pledged to continue supporting the Vietnamese community in Ireland.
In a meeting with the Vietnamese community in Ireland and embassy staff, General Secretary and State President Tô Lâm praised the community's spirit of solidarity and commitment to preserving national culture and language, despite numbering about 5,000 people. He emphasized the government's policies aimed at better supporting Vietnamese expatriates. The General Secretary and State President urged the Vietnamese Embassy in the UK, which also serves Ireland, to enhance its efforts in helping the community stabilize their lives, integrate into society, and organize activities that connect them with their homeland.
During Party General Secretary and State President Tô Lâm state visit to Ireland, a 17-point joint statement was issued to enhance bilateral relations, marking an important milestone in nearly 30 years of diplomatic ties. Both leaders discussed mutual interests, including the recent devastation from Typhoon Yagi, with Ireland offering support for emergency response efforts. They emphasized the significance of high-level visits and established parliamentary friendship groups to deepen understanding between their nations. Cooperation in various fields such as cybersecurity, human rights, and agriculture, and a commitment to promoting a trade through the EU-Vietnam Free Trade Agreement was also highlighted. Lastly, they reiterated the importance of international cooperation and peaceful dispute resolution in regional issues, while also exploring future collaborations in United Nations peacekeeping operations. Now, after successfully concluding his state visit to Ireland, Party General Secretary and State President Tô Lâm arrived in Paris to attend the 19th Francophone Summit and officially visit France. On Friday afternoon at Vietnam time, he attended and delivered a speech at FrancoTech 2024.
General Secretary and State President Tô Lâm praised the initiative to organize FrancoTech as a concrete step toward realizing the theme of the 19th Francophone Summit, Creativity, Innovation, and Entrepreneurship in French.
In recent years, Vietnam has implemented various policies to promote innovation, foster an entrepreneurial spirit, and create favorable conditions for business growth. Business expansion and the application of science and technology have significantly contributed to the country's development. Innovation and creativity will be essential as we enter a new era of national development.
The General Secretary and State President affirmed that the Francophonie Summit offers significant economic, investment, and trade cooperation potential, contributing 16% of global GDP and 20% of global trade. However, this potential requires the support of the business community. He praised FrancoTech 2024 for focusing on 5 key topics: artificial intelligence, energy transition, human capital, food security, and innovation.
These key topics also interest the Vietnamese state and enterprises. Vietnam aims to become a modern, industrialized country focused on building a digital economy. We seek closer cooperation with partners, including France and other Francophone countries, to develop key industries such as information technology, artificial intelligence, semiconductors, and green hydrogen energy, while fostering innovation and entrepreneurship. I encourage businesses and investors in the Francophone community to continue investing in Vietnam, which offers an increasingly favorable investment environment, attractive incentives, and a strategic location for growth into major international corporations.
The Vietnamese leader also witnessed the handover of an agricultural cooperation agreement between the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Benin. Visiting Vietnamese enterprises' booths at the exhibition space, he encouraged the firms to enhance collaboration with their Francophonie partners. He asked them to continue stepping up investment, research, and creativity.
Now, on the evening of October 4th, Vietnam time, French President Emmanuel Macron, his wife, and a Francophone Secretary General Louise Mushikiwabo hosted a welcoming ceremony for Party General Secretary and State President Tô Lâm and other delegation leaders at the 19th Francophonie Summit. This marked the first attendance of the Party General Secretary and State President at the Francophonie Summit, which gathered nearly 100 representatives from the governments and leaders of the Francophone community and international and regional organizations. Theme: Creativity, Innovation, and Entrepreneurship in French. The summit focused on priorities for Francophone cooperation, particularly in economic collaboration, innovation, and creativity. During the event, Party General Secretary and State President Tô Lâm delivered a keynote speech, highlighting Vietnam's proactive and responsible stance, emphasizing the country's readiness to collaborate with the international community for peace, friendship, and sustainable development. On October 2nd, the General Secretary of the Communist Party of Vietnam, or CPV Central Committee, and State President Tô Lâm congratulated Shigeru Ishiba, the newly elected chair of Japan's Liberal Democratic Party and Prime Minister. This message coincided with the congresses of various Japanese political parties, including the LDP, Komeito, and the Constitutional Democratic Party, which elected new leaders. CPV Central Committee members Lương Cường and Lê Hoài Trung congratulated Ishikechi and Noda Yoshihiko, the new presiding officers of Komeito and CDP. The Vietnamese leaders expressed their satisfaction with the strong and comprehensive development of the Vietnam-Japan relationship and the collaboration between the CPV and Japanese political parties. The Party General Secretary and State President emphasized Vietnam's commitment to viewing Japan as a key strategic partner and supporting its active role in regional and international matters. Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính has asked entrepreneurs to promote their pioneering role in seizing opportunities generated by international integration and Industry 4.0. Chairing a meeting held between cabinet members and business people on October 4th in Hanoi to mark Vietnam Entrepreneurs Day, October 13th, 2004 to 2024. The government chief emphasized that the party, state, and government consistently support Vietnamese entrepreneurs who play a key role in boosting socio-economic development, whilst further promoting the country's reputation and position within the international arena. He called on them to revitalize traditional growth engines, utilize new boosters, and engage in newly emerging trends and areas of the world. On October 4th, during their conference in Hanoi, Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh met with delegates from the International Network of Women Engineers and Scientists and leaders of the Vietnam Association for Intellectual Women. He highlighted the association's proactive role in fostering international cooperation in science and technology, especially following Vietnam's National Innovation Day on October 1st. The Prime Minister emphasized the country's commitment to sustainable development and the importance of promoting gender equality and female scientists. He expressed gratitude to the network and also encouraged collaboration for the benefit of Vietnam female intellectuals, particularly in technology transfer and workforce training. Now, in response to a proposal for a fund to support young female scientists, he assigned the Vietnam Women's Union president to coordinate with the finance minister on legal requirements. Coming up next on VTV News. Scope remains for public capital disbursement acceleration. And Vietnam strives to curb illegal trade in ivory. Welcome back to VTV News. Now, dozens of projects, including the North-South Expressway, have been implemented. And despite significant site clearance and pressure on material mines, Hà Tĩnh ranks among the top for disbursement, having allocated over 30% of its public investment capital in the last 2 months. This shows that with strong leadership, achieving the Prime Minister's 95% target is feasible.
Site clearance, resettlement area construction, and project implementation occurred simultaneously. Despite adverse weather, the Eastern Belt Road project in Hà Tĩnh City is 10% ahead of schedule.
We have assigned responsibilities to field staff and asked contractors to ensure adequate machinery, equipment, and personnel.
By the end of September, Hà Tĩnh Province had disbursed over 84% of its allocated public investment capital. The Provincial People's Committee aims to disburse 100% of this year's capital.
We've established 3 inspection teams led by the People's Committee vice chairs. They will inspect each project. The investor and management board must provide immediate explanations if there are delays. Provincial issues must be resolved at the provincial level, while local issues require intervention from the locality.
As of the end of September, the Ministry of Finance reported that 29 ministries, central agencies, and 26 localities had disbursement rates below the national average. If these units improve, the fourth quarter results will show positive changes.
Public investment targets should be assigned as key performance indicators to local leaders and ministries.
Many key projects are in their final stages this year. Achieving this term's goals will be challenging without speeding up public investment disbursement.
With 1 quarter remaining, there is still time to accelerate the disbursement of public investment capital and achieve at least 95% of the planned target, as the Prime Minister requires. The key issue is the determination and responsibility of leadership.
The National Power Development Plan for 2021 to 2030, with a vision to 2050, aims to have 23 gas-fired power projects operational by 2030, totaling over 30,000 megawatts, and also accounting for 20% of the system's installed capacity. However, capital and electricity purchase challenges have hindered 21 of these projects.
After over a year of negotiations, The power purchase agreement for the Nung Trach 3 and 4 power plant project, Vietnam's first liquefied natural gas power project, has been signed. However, the investor noted that this contract only addresses immediate challenges. With a capacity of over 1,600 megawatts, the project is expected to supply the national grid with 9 billion kilowatt-hours of commercial electricity annually. Without a long-term power purchase commitment, achieving efficiency for the investor will be difficult.
Under the current contract, we are assured of only 40% of the capacity. We are waiting for the government and the Ministry of Industry and Trade to resolve the remaining 60% of the issues. This will allow us to maximize capacity and secure a long-term fuel purchase contract 15% lower than short-term rates.
Only one of the 23 planned power projects is operational, and one is under construction. Delays are mainly due to challenges in capital mobilization and securing long-term clean power sources. Thus, a specific implementation mechanism is needed for these projects.
We proposed that the National Assembly address energy projects, especially LNG power projects, to advance these initiatives alongside completing the legal framework.
The Ministry of Industry and Trade is finalizing proposed mechanisms for gas-fired power that designates key national projects. Gas-fired electricity is a low-emission source vital for the transition to green energy.
Nearly 100 businesses from 31 provinces and cities across Vietnam are taking part in the 20th Vietnam Craft Village Fair, which opened in Hanoi on October 3rd. The festival, covering an area of 1,000 square meters, showcases typical handicraft products from traditional craft villages throughout the country. It also features agricultural products that meet one communal, one product or OCOP standards of 3 stars or higher, along with products bearing geographical indications, organic items, and local specialties. Craft villages in the north account for nearly 40% of the country's total, with the highest concentration in the Red River Delta, about 1,500 villages, of which approximately 300 are recognized as traditional craft villages. The fair aims to enhance the image and competitiveness of handicraft products in both domestic and foreign markets. Now, second to habitat loss, the illegal trade of wildlife is considered the biggest threat to many endangered species. In Vietnam, the illegal ivory trade remains complex and hard to detect. In many localities, tourism activities can be a major player in the illegal ivory trade, considering that illegal souvenirs are often sold to tourists.
Cái này là xương hay là ngà?
Cái này là bằng ngà. Có 1-2 cái là bằng ngà tại vì có bạn hàng gửi bán giùm á. Chứ ở đây thì mình không có tập trung bán mấy cái này.
Cái này là 5 triệu mấy cô nhỉ?
5,5 triệu.
Crafted items and jewelry made of elephant ivory are available in several shops on An Binh Street, District 5, Ho Chi Minh City. Although products made of ivory are prohibited, some retailers still sell such items secretly.
Cái này là hàng thật á.
Cái loại vòng này thì bao nhiêu cô?
3,5 triệu.
A field survey revealed that 3 out of 5 shops in this area sell products made of elephant ivory.
According to CITES, from 2008 to 2019, Vietnam recorded 107 seizures of smuggled ivory, exceeding 70 tons. In 2024, Vietnamese authorities seized 1.6 tons of ivory smuggled from Africa. The statistics show that illegal trade in ivory and products made of ivory has become more difficult to control.
According to CITES, most confiscated products such as bracelets, seals, and other types of jewelry are made of elephant tusks.
We carried out inspections at 90 shops in Da Nang City. More than 10 of them have products made of elephant ivory.
In the past 4 decades, the population of African elephants has dwindled from millions to only slightly over 400,000 individuals remaining in the wild. The illegal ivory trade is the main cause of this endangered species' decline. Elephant populations will continue to decrease seriously if people do not take strong action to end this crisis.
Eliminating temporary and dilapidated houses is one of the top priorities of the Vietnamese government, as it aims to lift disadvantaged people out of poverty and raise their living standards. And to achieve this goal, Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính ordered a nationwide effort to eliminate temporary and dilapidated houses nationwide by the end of 2025. In response to the Prime Minister's appeal, all ministries, departments, local authorities, and domestic businesses have been cooperating to speed up related programs and projects.
3 generations of Lee A Tĩnh family lived in draughty and cramped conditions for a decade. Thanks to the local authorities' support, they now have a new house.
I received a financial package worth over $1,200 to rebuild our house. We feel more secure as we have a safe place to live.
Lò Văn Cẩm and his wife have no savings and are unable to work due to their advanced age. Although they were provided a financial package worth more than $300, the 80-year-old couple could not build a new house.
Now we feel more secure. We're deeply grateful for the government's and local authorities' huge support.
We have always prioritized aid packages for poor and near-poor households, especially those living in disaster-prone areas with a high risk of flash floods and landslides. We've mapped out relocation plans to protect their lives and properties and speed up the construction of new houses.
Mekong Delta provinces have accelerated projects to eliminate temporary and dilapidated houses. Chà Vinh Province, home to the largest Khmer population, is one of the most successful provinces in the region.
Local authorities have created job opportunities for my children and grandchildren. We're very thankful for the huge support of the government and authorities.
Local authorities have implemented numerous projects to eliminate temporary and dilapidated houses for disadvantaged people and repair houses for war veterans and martyrs' families, as we want to raise their living standards.
The government are focusing on major goals for 2025, such as upgrading houses for war invalids and veterans and eliminating more than 150,000 dilapidated and temporary houses for poor and near-poor households nationwide.
Coming up next in our world news, Israeli airstrikes rock southern suburbs of Beirut. And according to IMF, Mid-East escalating tensions could pose significant economic risks. Now moving on to our world news, tensions in the Middle East continue to escalate. On Thursday, Israel carried out a series of massive airstrikes overnight, hitting the suburbs of Beirut. The strike along the Lebanon-Syria border, about 50 kilometers east of Beirut, led to the closure of the road near the busy Masna border crossing. The blast in Beirut's southern suburbs sent huge fumes of smoke and flames into the night sky and shook buildings kilometers away in the Lebanese capital. According to Lebanon's Al Jadid TV, the latest Israeli attacks were fiercer than the previous airstrikes, which killed a senior Hezbollah commander. On the same day, Israel's military said it had hit Hezbollah's intelligence headquarters in Beirut. Israel announced this week that its troops had begun ground raids into parts of southern Lebanon after days of heavy bombardment of Hezbollah strongholds around the country. Amid escalating tensions, many countries advised their citizens to avoid non-essential travel to the Middle East. The International Monetary Fund, or IMF, said on Thursday an escalation of the conflict in the Middle East could have significant economic ramifications for the region and the global economy. IMF spokesperson Julie Kozak told a regular news briefing that the Washington-based global lender is closely monitoring the situation in southern Lebanon. She noted that economies in the region have already suffered greatly, especially in Gaza, where the civilian population faces dire socio-economic conditions, a humanitarian crisis, and insufficient aid deliveries. The IMF estimates that Gaza's GDP declined 86% in the first half of 2024, while the West Bank's first half GDP likely declined 25%, with prospects of a further deterioration. Israel's GDP contracted by about 20% in the fourth quarter of 2023 after the conflict began, and the country has seen only a partial recovery in the first half of 2024. A centuries-old water storage tank is drawing tens of thousands of visitors a day in Istanbul. The Basilica's cistern was once the water lifeline of the historic city of Constantinople. Today, this underground marvel attracts people from all over the world to soak up its unique architecture and atmosphere.
The Basilica cistern spans approximately 138 meters in length and 64.6 meters in width, making it one of the largest of its kind. The ceiling is supported by 336 columns, each standing about 9 meters tall, arranged in 12 rows of 28 columns. These columns, made of recycled materials, showcase various styles, including Corinthian and Ionic capitals, reflecting the diverse influences of the Byzantine era.
It is marvelous the way it is now. I guess it's one of the wonders of the world. The way it has been conserved is spectacular. It is definitely an attraction for tourists to keep coming.
Since reopening its doors in July 2022 after an ambitious renovation, the cistern welcomes some 20,000 to 30,000 visitors every day. Visitors make their way through the area by walking on a metal grate path set just a few feet above the water below. Once in a while, they're struck by a droplet of water that falls from the condensation, an ironic reminder of the nearly 1,500-year-old cistern's ancient purpose.
A few things. I love the history, and I love the different columns, how they're all unique, because they took them, from the Romans, and they just put them as necessary. And they're all useful, but every single one is different. I also love how they bring in Turkish art. So, you see the sculptures everywhere. It's just also fascinating.
More than 300 Ionic, Corinthian, and Doric columns support the domed roof of the underground reservoir. Most were brought over from other, older structures across the empire and recycled, giving the cistern its uniquely mismatched character encompassing architectural examples of the Byzantine and Roman eras.
Now, as usual, let's move on to our weather forecast. And that's all the news we have for this hour. To rewatch our program, you can download our mobile app VTVgo or check out our YouTube channel VTV4Go. Thank you for watching and see you next time.